Hey guys, Henry from Adventure Air here again, and today we're going to take the Cavalon up and we're going to show you a couple things. We got these from your comments that you left, things that you wanted to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about rotor speed when we're flying in the air, what is too little, what's too much, what's normal. We're also going to talk about the impossible turn. When you get to the end of the runway, let's say you've lost your engine, if aircraft try to turn back to the runway, they may not make it. The gyroplane, no problem. So let's go up and have some fun. Okay guys, you had some questions about rotor speed. When we're flying this ship, the Cavalon, straight and level, pretty much the rotor speed stays around 420. It's 420 RPM. And so being an auto gyro, you really don't have to monitor the rotor speed that much. It's going to kind of do whatever Mother Nature needs it to do. If it needs to get faster, it'll get faster. If it needs to get slower, it'll get slower. If you are loading the blade, which means I'm in a bank turn where I'm kind of pulling a little bit of a G, maybe half a G, the RPM is going to increase a little bit, the rotor speed is, but not too much. So let's try one of those first and we'll see what it goes to. So right now we're at about 420 on the rotor, and let's do a little bit of a turn and see if we can make that go up a bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of power. 420 on the rotor, and here we go. Make a turn. 430, a little more, 450, and that's a pretty good, that's about a G turn. Rolling back out, and it goes back down to about 420 again. So it doesn't change too much. The other way you can go is if you do a negative G. We're not going to do a serious negative G because you're not supposed to do negative Gs in a gyro. But if I just push the stick forward and just lighten us up a little bit, here we go. Went down to about 390. So not a whole lot, not a whole lot. It's going to stay in that range, probably 390 to 450 at this altitude. The other way you can increase your rotor speed is if you went high in altitude. If we went up to 15,000 feet or so, yes, the air is thinner up there, your rotor's going to spin faster. Okay guys, we're in kind of a normal bank turn right now, and the rotor speed is, shocking, 420. So it doesn't change that much, really. All right, level us out here. All right, we're leveled out. Now the rotor speed is 420. So I'm going to pull a bit of power. We're climbing up to 2,000 feet here. Now, if I do a sharp climb, if I pull back on the stick here and we add a little pressure on the rotor blades, now the rotor speed's gone up to all of 430. So it doesn't vary that much. Again, it just does whatever Mother Nature needs it to do automatically, which is pretty nice. Unlike a helicopter, you're always monitoring your rotor speed. The gyroplane, you don't need to. The other reason that the rotor speed would increase quite a bit is if we climbed really high up in altitude. If we went up to 12,000 feet, then the air is thinner up there. The rotor would have to spin quicker in order to support the same amount of weight. And so then it could go up a bit, but that's only if you climb up in altitude. So I'd say 400 to 420 is pretty normal on your rotor speed. Okay, let's talk about do's and don'ts of auto gyros. Kind of the big one is don't do a negative G. And the way you do a negative G is if we took the stick and we slammed it forward really quickly and we got weightless in the aircraft for a second, that is not a happy thing for the gyro. What it does is you're taking all the weight off the rotor. We're hanging under the rotor. Again, the rotor's a wing. We're hanging under. If we do the negative G, all the weight comes off the rotor. The rotor speed could start slowing down a bit. It's going to take quite a while and quite a negative G to be able to get it down to an RPM that would be dangerous. But once the weight came back onto the ship after your negative G, the blades aren't going to snap off or anything like that. It's just not good for them. So we do avoid the negative Gs in the gyroplanes. Okay, another do and don't of the gyroplane, or actually it would be a don't, is we always want to try to take off and land into the wind. Even if the wind is blowing 5 or 6 knots, we try not to do a downwind takeoff or a downwind landing. It just causes extra stress on the aircraft, and things aren't going to work as happy. You're going to have much more of a quicker takeoff and a quicker landing if you land into the wind. So whenever there's something that happens, we want to take off and land into the wind. That's best for the gyro. Okay, so let's talk about, the question was, can we still auto-rotate if our airspeed is 0? And the answer is yes. We are always auto-rotating in the gyroplane. Anytime we're flying, we're in auto-rotation, which is what a helicopter does if it gets into trouble. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to pull the airspeed back to 0 airspeed. The reason it stays in auto-rotation is, as we slow down the aircraft and we are now at 0 airspeed, we're going to slowly start descending. So we're going down right now at about 500 feet a minute. We can add more power, which will kind of slow down our rate, but we're still descending. Even at full power, we're still going to descend at 0 airspeed. Now, air is still blowing through the rotor, which is keeping it spinning. So once we stop, the air is going to be blowing through it from underneath, and we're going to descend. So can you do it forever? Well, you can do it until you get to the ground. How about that? But even 0 airspeed, no big deal. You're always in auto rotation. Okay, so let's talk about the impossible turn in a gyro. In an aircraft, once you've taken off the runway, if you're at the end of the runway and all of a sudden you lose your engine, the tendency people want to do is they want to turn back towards that runway and land again. It's called the impossible turn in an aircraft because you're going to descend probably faster than you can make that turn happen. And so a lot of people are in the middle of that turn and they just run out of space. A gyroplane is completely different. Because we cannot stall, we can actually turn on a dime in a spot and land back on the runway. So the impossible turn back to the runway in a gyroplane is, I won't say it's easy. Well, it is easy. It's more than easy, okay? So let's just demonstrate that real quick here. Okay, so we're going to simulate a takeoff here. So we've taken off, and then all of a sudden, whoa, we lose our power. It's a left stick, left pedal, and all we do is we just spin around on a spot here, and we are relined up with the runway going the opposite direction. We drop the nose, pick up our airspeed to 50 or 60, and we would do a landing. Let's try that again. Okay, so let's simulate that impossible turn, taking off from a runway. So we've just taken off the runway and we're climbing out at about 60, and all of a sudden we lose the engine. Then all we do is I'm going to boot pretty good left pedal, spin the ship around. We're lined back up on the runway with no power, drop the nose to get our airspeed up, and then we would come in and land. Kind of a non-event here. That whole maneuver there, we lost about 100 feet, so not too bad. One question is, why am I turning left all the time? Well, in an emergency situation, the aircraft wants to turn left, let's say with no engine power. That's because of the rotor up there. The rotor is turning counterclockwise, okay? And so the counterclockwise turn, the machine wants to kind of turn left. If we can turn right if that's the way that we want to go, but if we're just doing a 180-degree turn, I always do it to the left because in an emergency situation, the machine wants to go left anyway. You're kind of going along with what it wants to do. We can do it to the right. It's just a little more effort. Hey guys, if you like what you see, like and subscribe and make your comment down below on something that you want to see us do in the future, and we'll be happy to do it. Henry from Adventure Air, see ya!